Today we're going to learn about past tense verbs. Our learning objective is to choose and use past simple and past continuous correctly. Let's look at the criteria for mastering. I can choose correctly when to use the past simple and past continuous. I can use the correct structure of the past simple and past continuous. What can you remember? How do you form the past tense? How many forms of the past tense do you know? What does regular and irregular mean? Let's find out. Past simple structure. We form the past simple using regular verbs with the root plus ed, for example, walked, helped, and played. Irregular verbs may have many variations like ate, began, and slept. Now remember, English has a lot of irregular verbs, so you need to revise your list. The only way to deal with them is to learn them. Past continuous structure is much simpler. Was or were plus the root plus ing. I was sleeping. He was sleeping, she was sleeping, we were sleeping, you were sleeping, they were sleeping. And of course, if you want to add the negative, you put not after the was or the were. How do we form the past simple questions? You went to school. They ate breakfast. We came here before. Did you remember the rule? Did plus the pronoun plus the root form of the verb. Now that's the tricky bit. Did you go to school? You went to school changes into did, which tells us it's in the past, and then the went changes into the root form of the verb, go. So they ate breakfast, but did they eat breakfast? We came here before. Did we come here before? And past continuous questions? We were running fast. How do we say that using the question form? They were celebrating late. She was listening to the radio. Did you remember the rule? It's easy. You just change the first two words around. Were you running fast? Were they celebrating late? Was she listening to the radio? Now let's compare the present and the past. What's the difference between these sentences? I watch television at the weekend. I am watching television now. I watched television yesterday. I was watching television when my friend called me. Now number 1 and number 2 should be easy for you. We use the present simple, I watch television, when we have a time clause and it's a regular action, at the weekend. But we use the present continuous, I am watching, when we have the words now, at the moment, or today. Let's see whether you knew the answers to number 3 and number 4. Have you ever wondered, why do we say, I watched television yesterday, but I was watching television when my friends called me? Clue. Think of the meaning. Another clue. How many actions are there? Which action takes the longest time? I watched television yesterday. That's got one action. I was watching television when my friend called me. That has two actions. Which happened first and went on the longest? Were you correct? Watching television started first and took longer than the second action, which was, my friend called me. The long action is in the past continuous, and the short action is in the past simple. Does this help? It might do. Another way of looking at it is by comparing one action as a video and the other as a photograph. For example, I was watching television. You could film the length of time while I was watching. You could film the moment when I turned the television on and when I started watching and how it continued and how I was enjoying it. But could you actually film the moment my friend called me? It would be much easier if you just take a picture of her for just that second while she called. So the video part is the long action and the camera click is the short action. The rule. Past simple talks about something that happened before. It happened and it finished. The past continuous talks about something that was happening before, but for a period of time. It gives a background for something that was happening while a different event happened. Think about it for a moment. Now try these examples. Don't forget, you can always stop the video and go back and replay it. The answers. They were playing when the policeman walked past. Were playing started first and went on longer. The policeman only walked past for a moment. The doctor was looking at her sore arm when the baby started to scream. The period of time the doctor spent looking at her arm was longer than the moment the baby started to scream. When the teacher entered the class, the students were reading their books. Now think about that one for a moment. You have to think of the word order here. The students were reading their books before the teacher entered the room and carried on reading after she entered the room. That's why we use the past continuous for were reading. Now I have a video link for you. This video shows clearly when we use the past simple and the past continuous. Some of you will only want to watch the beginning 3 minutes to practice. Some of you may like extension and watch the next 3 minutes and do the practice questions too. Good luck!